All right, we'll start this class in Tadasana, mountain pose. So come to standing with your feet just as far apart as they're comfortable for you to keep your legs engaged but not overlocked or over engaged. To keep your torso, your upper torso bones stacked evenly over your lower torso bones. And to keep some neutrality in your hips and your shoulders, over the hips, ears over your shoulders. Press down into the center of your heels and feel how that engages your glutes. Your belly draws in just enough, but not too much. You get a natural tilt of your pelvis. And stack your diaphragms up, your vocal over the thoracic, which is your breathing diaphragm, and then the pelvic diaphragm. So those three stack up, lining on top of each other for alignment. That'll send the back of your head over and in line with the back of your pelvis. Chin is level with the floor, and you're gazing right out past the tip of your nose, whether it's down to the floor or out to the front of the room. Pushing down into your feet, but not pressing your kneecaps back. Instead, pulling your kneecaps up by engaging the quadricep muscles, the four front thigh muscles. Inhale, reach your arms up to the ceiling. And then use your right hand. Take hold of your left wrist and slide over into a side bend. So just pull your left arm over with your right arm. Keep pushing into your left foot. Keep those knees softly bent, but pulling the kneecaps up. And roll your left ribs open. And then inhale back up to standing Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, release your arms. Take a moment to redistribute that weight between your feet equally and evenly from right to left and front to back. And then inhale, reach your arms back up. Take your left hand to your right wrist. Pull over with your left arm. And start to turn your right ribs open. Push into your right foot. And then press down into your right heel. And then again, pull those kneecaps up so that your right thigh maintains its controlled effort here. Stretching out the right side of your body. And then inhale, come back up. And exhale, hands back down. Let's take an inhale here. And then if you need your feet closer or farther, we're going to move into a forward fold. So I'm going to situate my feet a little farther apart since it's the first one for me. I'm not sure what's going on my hamstrings, so I want to be gentle. So I'm going to fold down to the floor, or if you like blocks, a couple blocks under your hands. Maybe even a couple moments here to take some cat-cow. So bend your knees, open your chest. Inhale, and then exhale. Pull your back up to the ceiling. Push down into the floor with your feet. Pull those kneecaps up and drop your chin, and then round your spine. Inhale, bend your knees. Let your belly come down towards your thighs and pull your chest through your shoulders. Send your sit bones back as you open. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, round, push the floor away. And pull your back up as high as you can get it without letting your fingertips come off the floor or your blocks. And then one more. Inhale, bend your knees. Spread out the toe box, spread out your toes. Press into the base of your foot from the big toe to the pinky toe. And then exhale, round. Inhale all the way up. Pull up out of that rounding. Exhale, release your arms into a standing position. Tadasana or Samastitihi. Inhale, reach back up. As you fold, exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift here. Bend the knees if you need, but if you can avoid it, don't bend them. Little half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way back up. Pressing out through the toes, pressing out through that toe box. Try to get the base of the foot as broad as you can get it. And then the heels are rooted down, the center of the heel rooted down. Exhale, Samastitihi. Again, inhale, reach up. Maybe even look up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, reach all the way back up. Use your back muscles, use your glutes, use your hamstrings. Samastiti, exhale. One more. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way back up. Reach up. Exhale, Samastiti, standing pose. All right, take your feet back in under the inside of your hips. Keep your right foot up at the front and step your left heel back. Line up your two heels. Bend your right knee. Turn your left toes at an angle. Left heel drops in once it hits the floor. So you feel the stretch along the front of that left hip. Zip in with your ribs. Pull the waist sides back and expand the rib cage upward without pulling your right knee back. So try not to get taller by pushing your right leg straight. In fact, bend your right knee more. Pull the side waist back. Expand your rib cage. And inhale with your hands reaching up. Warrior one. Break the mat with your feet, but then at the same time, pull back in with your belly, with your hips, with your waist. Big breath here. Fill up your lungs, soften your shoulders, and try not to pull your shoulders down. Just spread out your shoulder blades and use the muscles on your shoulder blades to spread them out a little wider at the top. All right, go ahead and straighten your right leg, and you can take your hands down. I'm going to hop forward a little bit with my left foot. And then I'm going to start shortening the stance. I'm going to take my hands behind my back. You can grab your wrists or your elbows, forearms. Maybe you want to take the knuckles together and your elbows pull away from each other. And then just lengthen out halfway. Reverse prayer is also an option. So if you want to slide your pinkies up and then your palms together, the thumb and the index finger pressing together. Use your biceps to press your palms together. Lengthen out just halfway here. So pull the right hip crease up. And then again, lengthen your spine over your right leg. Squeeze your right kneecap up and then press into your left heel. Squeeze both thigh muscles. So the left thigh is also working. Press down into your left heel. And zip that belly in, pull the waist sides up to the ceiling, lengthen that spine out. Bend your right knee, slide your hands down and out from that reverse prayer or the reverse hand grabbing. And then scoot your left leg back a little bit longer to warrior one again. And then inhale, reach your arms, sit down deep as you exhale. Use your triceps to press your elbows straight. Use the muscles on the side of your armpits to engage and press your armpits forward. And then take your hands either again to your hips or behind you, heart center, shift forward, and then balance warrior three. Squeeze the left glutes and hamstrings, squeeze your inner thighs toward each other. Zip your belly, and you can take your arms forward if you like. Left leg strong. Push the right hip up. And then land, Tadasana. Inhale, reach your arms, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Don't fall on your forward fold like I did. And then inhale, half lift. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold. Step back into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then again, use those armpit muscles to press your armpits towards the floor. You're not pushing them, you're not dropping them down. In fact, it's almost like you can pull them up and press down with those outer armpit muscles. Okay, come forward into plank pose. Inhale. Take another inhale and then exhale, chaturanga. You can go straight legs or bend your knees. Flip to the tops of your feet. Upward facing dog, inhale. And exhale. Downward facing dog. Okay, take your feet back up to your hands. Coming back up to your fold, Uttanasana. And then inhale all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Samastitihi. Take your feet back together. Okay, and then I'm going to step my right foot back for warrior one. So right heel goes back and down in line with my left heel. And then again, I'm going to press back with that right heel, press back with the outer right foot, bend your left knee forward. As you pull your sides back, open your rib cage. Inhale, reach your arms and sink down with those hips. Breaking the mat away at the same time, drawing in with your thigh bones, drawing in with the hip bones. But then lengthen your thighs long. So there's an oppositional force there, a little spiraling of energy. You can have your gaze up as long as your neck's not falling back. Gaze forward if it's too intense on your neck, especially if it puts too much of a dip in your back bend. I'm looking up and I'm feeling like it's lifting my chest up a little higher, so it helps me. Right, and then release your hands. And I'm going to step my right foot up a little bit. So shortening the stance. Pyramid, Parshavottanasana. Pushing equally into both feet. And then I'm going to take my hands behind. Halfway fold. Try not to dump down into your left hip crease. So pull the left hip crease and keep it spacious. Try not to pull from the back of your left knee. Pull from the front of your thigh. Push into the ball of your left foot and the heel of your right foot. Open your collarbones. And reverse prayer is fine here, but zip that belly in. Broaden out your waist. Broaden out the ribs. Both feet are strong. Thighs are strong. Low belly is strong. Back of your neck is soft and long. Jaw is soft. Breath in and out of your nose. And then inhale, come up to stand. Wiggle that right foot back a little bit. Left knee bends again. Warrior one, Virabhadrasana A. Inhale, reach your arms. Stretch your arms up. And then take your hands either to hips or heart. And move this into that warrior three, Virabhadrasana C, flying warrior. You can step your right foot forward and just come into a shorter stance. And then from here, just start to hinge on that left hip and zip that belly up. And then maybe you lift the back of your right leg, but you're lifting from the right glutes and engaging your right calf muscles. Arms can come forward, hips sit back a little bit if your arms come forward to counter that weight distribution. And then come up to stand, Tadasana, push your feet down to the floor. Once that right foot hits, inhale, reach your arms up and fold. Exhale, Uttanasana. And step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And exhale here. Inhale into plank pose. Exhale. Open your chest through so there's not a rounding in your upper back. Inhale, zip your belly, draw the side waist back. And then on your next exhale, bend your elbows. Imagine you're pulling the floor up to you. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Come back up to the top of the mat with your feet. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, reach all the way up. Exhale, Samastitihi. So feet are together here, ankles together. We're going to take Utkatasana, fierce pose. Bend your knees. You can get your hand between your two knees though, so they're not squeezing together, but they're also not opening out. And then inhale, reach your arms. Lift your arms, lift your gaze. Lift your hips a little bit more if you can't lift your chest up to the ceiling, so it doesn't need to be down here. And also, it's not downhill skiing pose. Don't sit back. It's going to tweak your low back. Sitting those knees forward over the toes, and use the front shin muscles to pull the tops of your feet up to your ankles without lifting your toes. All right, and then take your hands out, wrap the right arm under the left arm, lift your elbows, stay here in a fierce pose with eagle arms, or lift your right leg and start to walk it over so you can wrap your right leg. Do not have to hook your right toes, you can, but if you do, don't let your left knee swerve to the right. Keep the left knee bending forward. Squeeze the thighs together, squeeze the floor with your foot, lift your elbows, expand your upper back, front ribs, pull back in. Unwrap your arms, lift your right knee, straighten your left leg, send your right foot back, spin to your right, turn your right toes to point all the way back. So now you're facing the back end of your mat. You've just turned all the way around to the back, bypassing the right side of the room. Warrior two. Open your arms. Heels are lined up with each other. Right hip is not dropping lower than the left hip. Stretching the inner right thigh long and using the outer right muscles, hip muscles and thigh muscles, to pull the right knee towards the pinky toe without taking it too far open. Send your chest up through your shoulders. Pull your side waist in and back. Exhale into side angle. Right hand to the floor. And then press back with that left foot. If your foot's been sliding a little bit, mine got a little slippery and slid. So I had to readjust my stance there. Left arm up overhead. And try not to lean back too much. So twist through instead of leaning back. So my right hand's coming down to the floor, put a block there, or if you need, and then push your right knee into your arm. So the tendency isn't to back bend. Okay. Arm into leg, leg into arm. There's a squeezing action there, resistance. Squeeze your left thigh. Lift your inner left thigh, push your outer left foot down. Left triceps, press your left arm straight. And then on your exhale, hands to the floor. Turn off to your left. So now you're facing the side of your mat. Forward fold, Prasarita Padottanasana. Now you know why I wear the shorts. Just saying. And take any arm variation here that you want. You can take your hands out wide, release your wrists. You can have your arms behind your back. Prasarita Padottanasana C. Try not to let your hips fall back too far behind your heels. And then release your hands back down to the floor if you've got them behind your back. Lift up just halfway so you can catch your breath in, recorrect your posture, get out of the knee joints so that you can walk around to the front of the mat with your hands and step back into downward facing dog. Exhale. And plank pose. Inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And step or hop forward. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, reach up. Exhale, Samastitihi, standing pose. Feet together. Again, we're going to bend this into Utkatasana, fierce pose. So your knees are going to bend down and forward so they don't bend in or out. Okay. Again, just about like a hand's width between, fingers width, I guess, whatever. Inhale, reach your arms. Utkatasana, fierce pose. Arms out so your left arm now can wrap around and under. Stay here in this fierce position, or take your left leg over the right. Either squeeze your outer legs together, stick a block under your left foot, or tuck your left toes behind your right shin. And bend your right knee straight forward. Lift your elbows, pull those side ribs in and back, and then space out the ribs. Garudasana, eagle pose. Squeezing your thighs together. Top thigh squeezes the bottom thigh. And then unwrap your arms. Lift your left knee as you straighten your right leg. Send your left leg back. Spin past the left edge of your mat so you can face backward now in Warrior Two, Virabhadrasana B. Left knee is going to bend over your ankle. Right knee is going to pull up. So use your right thigh to pull up. The knee and the toes point in the same direction. So my right toes are angling, so is the right knee. Left knee is straight forward, so is my left second toe. Open your arms, open your twist, open your torso. Hips are opening slightly, but not so much that the left knee falls in. Again, pull your chest through your shoulders. Lengthen your mid-upper back, the thoracic spine. Exhale, Utthita Parshva Konasana, extended side angle. Left hand on the floor or block. And then again, push into your arm with your leg. And then turn your left ribs through. And stretch your right arm overhead. Squeeze your right thigh. Lift your inner right thigh up. Seal your outer right foot down. Lift your inner right arches off the floor. Okay, hands to the floor. Walk over to the right edge of your mat. Inhale, and then exhale, fold. Prasarita Padottanasana. Again, take the arm variation that you'd like. Just a few breaths here. Push onto the balls of your feet. Lift your inner arches. Press equally into both feet. So push your feet down instead of letting your feet roll open. Push onto the big toe mounds of your feet. And then inhale to come up out of it. So you can take the pressure out of your knees and your ankles and walk back to the front end of the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Exhale. Plank pose. Inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Okay, take your feet up to the top of your mat. Step out to the width of your hands. Grab your elbows and forward fold and sway side to side here. And put a soft bend in your knees if that feels good. And in fact, you can kind of go back and forth with the knee bending side to side, left and then right. Okay, take your hands down. Heel toe your feet back in closer together so we can take this into Malasana Garland pose. If your feet can touch, great. If not, that's fine. But don't turn your toes out. Keep your toes pointing straight forward. We want the knees to open, not the feet. And forward fold down towards the floor. Block under your head if you'd like. Pillow your fists if you'd like, or stack your fists for your forehead. You can reach around and hug your heels. Hugging them with your shin, or hugging your shins with your triceps. That'll push your head down towards the floor more. Don't be too excessive in that force, though, in that push. Very gentle. Okay, and then inhale, come up. Take your knees together. Forward fold, exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Samastitihi, exhale, standing pose. Keep your left foot pointing forward. In fact, you may need to turn your left toes out slightly if that's the natural rotation of your femurs. So if you notice that you have more of an external rotation in your legs, take advantage of that. Like, don't fight it. That's the way your leg is going to balance better. That's the way your head of your femur is going to sit better in your hip joint. So I'm going to have my left toes turned out, but it's not a lot. Okay, it's just a tiny bit, like not even a fraction. It's just a fraction of an inch, smaller than a quarter of an inch. Can't even really tell, except for looking down, I can see a slight angle in my left toes. And then I'm going to slide my right foot up the front of my left thigh, reach down for my hand with my hand, and then turn my right heel. So on my right heel, I'm turning in my front-ish area of the inner thigh. And then squeeze in with your hips and press down into your left foot. Vrikshasana tree pose. You can take your hands out. This is actually a really cool balancing pose to open the heart chakra. So if you want to Hridaya Mudra, you can take the index finger into the thumb crease and then your thumb to the second and third finger. So the ring finger and the middle finger, and then your pinky finger out to the side, and then open your heart. Squeeze your inner thigh into your right foot and squeeze your outer right hip into your inner left thigh. So you're not just pushing in with your foot, you're squeezing from the thighs and the hips. If you want, you can reach your arms up to the ceiling. Keep the mudra if you'd like. Let it go if that's not working for you. And then slide your right foot back down. Reach up once your right hand lands, lift and take a little back bend. Open your heart here, open your hands, and then exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Half lift, inhale. Chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing dog, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Hop forward or step up, fold. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Samastitihi. So again, I'm going to let my right toes angle out slightly. One side's actually different for me, so I feel like my right foot does not need to be turned out as much. So it's just a tiny bit. A good way to test this theory is just to jump and land a couple times and see how your feet are. Actually, my right foot is turning out more, so is what it is. Sometimes I have to turn my right foot in, though, to counterbalance that overstretch. So just because you're naturally rotated doesn't mean like where your feet are landing is your natural rotation, is what I'm trying to say. So it could just because you have really tight piriformis or overstretched something inside of your hip. So if you need to turn the foot in to correct that, do that. But I want you to play with it. So maybe pause this and go to the wall and find where your foot is. This is the easiest standing balance pose, but I see this is the most challenging when I teach it for a lot of people because of the nature of the femur and the way that we're standing. We get beat into our head that we have to have our toes pointing straight forward. It's not natural. That is simply not natural. So find the natural rotation of your right foot. Pull your left foot up. Turn on your left heel. Squeeze your outer right hip in. Lift your 2 front hip bones in and up towards your belly button. Drop your left glutes. And then again, if you want to take that Hridaya Mudra, index finger into the thumb crease, the thumb to the next 2 fingers, ring and middle, and then pinky finger relaxes. I'm going to bend my elbows and just let my wrist open up, a little Spider-Man heart mudra here. The left knee, it's not trying to get all the way out to the side. It's going out just to where you can take it without lifting your left hip up higher. So if your left hip is opening up to the ceiling or lifting up, if your butt is lifting up, you're over-rotating that left hip and not doing so from the outer rotator. So use the piriformis and their deep 6 rotator muscles back here to turn the left thigh open. Inner left heel is turning forward. Squeeze that floor with the right foot. Dig in with your toes. Stretch your arms up. Stretch your hands out if you want, or keep that mudra if you'd like. And then that left foot's going to come down, and as soon as it does, look up and take a little bit of a back bend and exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Ardha Uttanasana, inhale, half lift. Exhale to Chaturanga, stepping or floating. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Okay, headstand. Elbows and knees to the floor. That tree pose hopefully was a good setup for a headstand, a good balancing, a good prep for balancing. You may have better balance on your elbows and your head, you might not. One option here for headstand is to not put your knees up and not take your heart any higher than it is right now than your head. So this is an inversion with my head coming down. Maybe even just rest your forehead on your thumbs. Why not take it gentle? But you're not just slopping here, right? So if you're doing this version, you're pushing down into your elbows, pulling your ribs up, but not rounding your spine. Know when you're going too far. Know when you're pushing too far. And open your chest. And this is a really great place to be. Next, you could start to lift your head up, look down towards your knuckles, or even look down towards your forearms. Press into the wrists and your elbows, and then push your knees up. And then the heart's a little higher, head's a little lower. If this is putting pressure in your head, come back down to your knees and skip it. Also, you don't want to push back into your heels to pull your shoulders back. You want to eventually work on getting your feet closer to your elbows, maybe even bend your knees here and try to send your shoulders over your elbows. So there's more shoulder work here and more core work rather than just flapping and dumping. That's not headstand. There's no flapping and dumping in headstand whatsoever. Massive shoulder work, but not so much that you're rounding your back. And then if you want to set your head down behind your hands, open your palms, cup the back of your head. Make sure it's the flattest part of your head on the floor, and you're using your neck muscles to push into the floor with your head. You could bend your knees here, but if you bend your knees, be careful not to drop your butt down and pull your head, like round your upper back and upper neck. You can teeter-totter forward and back, forward and back. And then maybe one heel lifts and then down. And then the other heel and down. Maybe one and then the other, and then down, down. And then left, right, and then down, down. And if you're comfortable with the both feet staying off the floor for a minute, like a minute is like a few seconds, right? Stay there. If you can, squeeze heels to butt, take your knees to the ceiling, and push your elbows into the floor to press your shoulders up to the ceiling. And then maybe you straighten your legs up. Squeeze your glutes, squeeze your thighs, push into your elbows. And breathe wherever you are. Notice if you're pushing more in your right elbow and fix that. I am. Or maybe you're pushing more in your left elbow. You can start to lower straight legs. You would kind of shift your hips back over your head a little bit more. Maybe pause there. And then come down, nice and slow. Rest in child's pose. And take your arms behind, release your shoulders. Rest on your thighs with your knees together. Big toes touching, forehead resting on the floor. Shoulders soft. All right, and then come up to seated. And then just take an easy seated position here just for a moment. Feel the balance in your sit bones. And feel the balance, again, the line up in your vocal, thoracic, and pelvic diaphragms. Follow your breath. Notice its pace. Notice your body sensations and how you feel after this practice. Notice your body's natural way of sitting, your body's natural way of moving. Those are the ways that you should be moving your body in your yoga practice, in accordance with your natural bone structure and the way that your body was put together like a fine, special model. It is. It's exactly what it is. If you want to lie back and take Shavasana, you can take a few moments there to rest. I'm going to end my practice here just to feel the balance and the softness in my shoulders after that hard work. And of course, as always, at the end of your practice, wherever you're landing, whether it's just internally or physically bowing, but take a nod of recognition for yourself, for all that you do, and for your body and its natural way of being. And its natural way of being as it changes from day to day. Add that little extra monkey wrench into the mix, because it does, it changes daily. So love that and appreciate that. And watch it. Watch it with complete wow, Wow. All right, thanks, yogis.